Welcome to the bright side of aging. My name is Ike Engelbaum, and I am the publisher of the American Senior Gazette newspaper and host the radio show Bright Side of Aging. Our motto is that age is a matter of the mind. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. It has also been said there is no such thing as old age. There is instead chronologically blessed. My mission is to interview people that are interested in helping you as a senior or retiree or possibly a refiree to live life in a vertical position for as long as your good genes will allow. And if you've inherited bad genes, that how to outwit them. And as has been wisely said, you are only as old as you think. And if you think about it, age indeed is a matter of the mind. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. And also, you cannot help getting older, but you can help getting old. And no matter how you flower it, in order to enjoy life, money is a big factor. That's why I'm really excited about having Alfred Bernstein with me, who is actually more of a teacher than he is just a regular financial planner. And in fact, he is a teacher at the community college. As I understand it, Alfred, you're involved with foreign affairs as well.
Oh, I teach U.S. foreign policy when I have the opportunity, but lately I've been just a little busy, thank goodness.
And I know a little bit about your background. You're a bit of a poet as well. And I understand that you've got a poem by Longfellow that sort of addresses your philosophy about the financial world. Is that correct?
Yes, and the last time you had me on the show, and thank you for inviting me back, I started off with a poem as well about financial amnesia, but this one's a little different. Longfellow, 1849. Sail on, O ship of state, sail on, Union, strong and great. Humanity with all its fears, with all the hopes of future years, is hanging breathless on thy fate. To me, what that poem means, that people have to think about their future. What's going to happen to them in the future? How much can they take on as a personal responsibility and learn what they need to know to have a safe and sound future? And that's what I do for a living.
Aha. Now, as they say, it pays to plan for your future.
Yes.
Because you're going to be spending the rest of your life there, right?
You're doggone right, Ike. You're 100% right.
All right. So let me walk through what happens when someone gives Alfred Bernstein a call. What's the typical type conversation?
Well, the typical type conversation is based on two sources. And today's topic we're talking about a tax-free retirement. And the other source that we talk about when people come to me is this book from the state of Michigan. And you can see this online. It's a 120-page book about a financial toolkit of reinventing my MI retirement. So I like to think of myself as a retirement specialist. And if you want to go online and find this, it's www.michigan.gov/DIFS, and you can get this 120-page book that talks about financial topics. So when people come to see me, we talk about what they want to talk about. Mm-hmm. It depends on your age. Now, if you're in your 40s and 50s and you want to think about your future and learn about things that are important to you in your future, you have to decide when you're going to retire. You want to be as debt-free as possible. You want to learn about Social Security. When people come to see me, I give them a handout about 44 ways of working Social Security from the inside. File and suspend's a good strategy. You have to see if you have a pension or not. What are you going to do with your nest egg? Is it going up and down? Is there a way to secure that and get a private pension? And you need to do a real budget. I suggest, and I will give everyone that comes to see me, a real budget from GreenPath. This is a local company that's national in scope. They have a wonderful budget, and they will help you free of charge when you go see them about planning a budget. You need to know what's coming in and what's going out. And it's quite important to know that. And then if you're retiring and have an old 401k, of course you want to put that into a safe IRA, and we teach people about that. So today's topic is, how do we get a tax-free retirement? If you want to go and order this book, I can give you one when you come see me, but if you want to order this book, the author is Patrick Kelly. He's written 3 of these. This is his first edition. He came out in 07. But it's important to learn about these things, and what I find so interesting about a tax-free retirement is that a lot of accountants don't know about it to teach their business clients. And a while back, we did a continuing education course for the small CPAs that had small business clients about teaching them how to use the IRS code so that their business owners will get a tax-free retirement using Section 79 or 162. And I'd be happy to email this to anyone that could use it to sit down with their CPA and learn about this topic, because not even CPAs knew about it. And it's so wonderful for me to teach CPAs something.
Well, you're a teacher type. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
Okay.
Obviously, you got a lot of books, and a lot of people actually are overwhelmed with all of the information that is out there. In fact, I heard a great line that said that the problem is today, with all the technology that's available, we are actually overwhelmed with information, but how do you apply it to a particular person? So my question to you is that do you have some set steps? Someone comes to Alfred Bernstein,
right,
and you have them bring in, obviously, whatever documents they need. Then what do you suggest for someone, for them to have as sort of a nest egg? How many months sort of a ready-to-go type income should they have set aside?
Well, the best thing for the folks to do is to call me on the phone so I get some general perspective of where they've been and where they are and where they want to go and that sort of thing. What I like to do is teach people about new topics they don't know about. Today's topic is tax-free retirement. The first thing that we're going to do is, after they bring in their financials and sit down with me for about 30, 45 minutes, is I will explain some definitions of things, because people get confused.
Yeah, but in terms of in actual dollars and cents, is it 6 months that they should have? I've heard 12 months as a sort of have a secure nest egg. It's for them above and beyond that, then to consider investing it. What do you recommend that people have as sort of a safety net?
Well, for a safety net, you need at least 6 months of cash in the bank. When you come sit down with me, I'm going to test your risk tolerance, and you can bring in your statements of things. I will give them a second review, a second opinion. I can't tell you how much money you need to have when you retire. I see commercials on TV that says you need $1 million to retire safely. That's not always the case. Most of the folks that we see have at least $50,000 put away. They're in their 50s. They want to learn about retirement before they retire. There are people that come in that have already retired, and I'd like to freshen up some topics for them so they don't lose money. The one thing that bothers me the most is that the stock market's at its very height right now, and I'm terribly afraid when people come in and say it'll never crash again, knowing that it crashed in '87, 2001, 2008. So I like to nudge people with a feather to teach them how to get on the safe side of things. How does a person have a safe savings program so that when they're my age, and I'm 66, they can start taking money from this thing tax-free? It is a great way to protect yourself, protect your family, and protect your future retirement. Because we know that taxes will be going up. We know that there'll be inflation. We know interest rates will be going up. How do we learn about something we don't know now so that we can put into place something not only for ourselves but for our children and grandchildren? I've talking to my son today. He's finishing up law school in Atlanta. And I said, son, if you can put away $1,000 a month, once you become an attorney, by the time you're my age, you're going to have about $250,000 in tax-free income when you're my age, and you'll never have to worry about money.
All right. Well, you know, it's the old story, too. By the time he gets to be your age, I think the dollar is going to be a little different in value, too.
Oh, certainly.
But I just wondered if you could guide me through as far as the average type of situation is concerned. I've heard that a lot of people figure, well, I'm not going to be spending as much when I retire as to when I was working, and that is not true.
That's not always true. That's not always true.
Right.
You're having income coming in possibly from Social Security and a pension and your nest egg, and they may even bump up your tax rate with tax rates going up. The three things that people are concerned with, even with the best of plans, is that they either die too soon, live too long, or become ill and can't take care of themselves. This safe, prudent savings program that I suggest, this tax-free retirement program, takes care of all those issues. So what if, like, I plan on my goal is to live forever, and so far I'm right on track? Can you have a program? Can you have a program like that? I don't think so, right? Well, you know,
you might want to take it under consideration.
What we're talking about is the power of compounding interest. The earlier you start with one of these things, the better off you are.
Right.
But it's never too late to put money in a safe place.
Right.
I am all about safe money, whether it is pre-taxed or post-taxed. Whatever money, assets that you have, be safe and not sorry with money.
All right. You know, I assume you also get into the fact that even in collecting Social Security, some people say don't start collecting Social Security before 65 because you get the maximum amount. Do you have any thoughts about, does it depend on the situation? Should you start as early as 62, for example?
Well, that's a great conversation to have with folks. And when people visit with me, I give them a booklet about the 44 ways of getting into Social Security and working it to its max. There are different strategies that you can use, and believe you me, I'm on Social Security. When you go there, they're not going to tell you how to work the system. I try to prepare people to know how to do that, and also about Medicare, how to apply for that. That's a whole different world. I'm greatly concerned about Social Security. I know it's going to be here in the future, but I want to learn about how to maximize that. So there's a three-legged stool. There's a pension, there's Social Security, and there's my nest egg. I think it's up to us to take the personal responsibility to learn everything that we can about tax-free retirement, and this is the topic of today, or other things that will help us in the future. We've got to be proactive. We can't just retire one day and say, well, I'm going to develop a plan. We have to have the foresight to look into the future.
And that's what Alfred Bernstein does. And they say that if you want to be successful, you do have to have a plan, and you customize it depending on the person's needs. And you also, being a teacher, have got all these books available if someone wants to get in touch with you. And I think that's great, because there's an old line that I've used many times, and that says that if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. Right now, we are going to take a brief break, Mr. Bernstein. Been a delight to have you here.
All right.
And we'll be right back.
We own a Habitat home.
I love working on my Habitat home.
Soy dueño de una casa de Habitat.
My neighbor is a Habitat homeowner.
Being a Habitat homeowner has changed our lives.
My mortgage payment for Habitat is less than what I paid for rent.
Habitat for Humanity of Oakland County currently has homes available with mortgage payments lower than most rent payments. If you or someone you know needs decent and affordable housing, call 248-338-1843 or visit our website at habitatoakland.org.
Please remember that CFL bulbs, you know, those curly, energy-efficient light bulbs everybody is using to save electricity, shouldn't be thrown away in your trash. Neither should batteries or home medical sharps. You can check with your local community to see where they can be recycled. Some retailers will allow you to bring them in for recycling. You can also order simple kits online that allow you to collect your recyclables and simply mail them away to be properly recycled. This green tip was brought to you by your friends at Waste Management.
And welcome back. And we're going to switch gears right now and talk about medicine, and with a medical doctor, Dr. Henry Maicki, who I've had the privilege, honor, and joy of meeting both at the Optimist Club and the Rotary. And if there's a message that I would like for you to get from these programs, is that we have so many wonderful service organizations out there that really welcome volunteers. And Dr. Maicki, who had a very substantial, I think you were an OBGYN guy, is that right? Or, right?
Yes, I was.
In your younger years.
Years ago, yes.
Yeah, and you graduated Wayne, is that correct?
That is correct, Wayne State
Hey, I'm
Medical
an
School.
alum of Wayne State.
Okay.
So we are alumni, I guess?
Together, yes.
And you decided to retire, or as I like to keep insisting, you got refired, okay, not retired. Right.
And reoriented.
Reoriented, right. And I must give you credit. What I always try to promote to people who quote-unquote retire is give back. I mean, this is the greatest country in the whole world. And it's sad that we have all these problems because we really are a giving type nation, and you are best example of that. And you decided that, hey, I'm going to start going out on some missions and use my medical background. Is that how things went?
That is correct. I had the opportunity in 2001 to go to Zambia, Africa, and service probably around 2,000 patients that year. We have served up to 7,000 patients in a year.
Right. Well, you're, as I understand, they're going to be the upcoming president of the Rotary out in West Bloomfield, right?
Yes, I recently joined the Rotary Club about a year ago.
See, isn't it wonderful? Well, I enjoy your presence always. You always have a joyful attitude about you, and your medical background certainly is, I'm sure, being practiced now with all the different situations that come up in Zambia. And I had also the joy of meeting registered nurse Karen Remine, is it? Is that her
Karen
name?
Remine, yes.
And is she the instigator of your being involved in this program?
Absolutely. She is the president and founder of the organization that I go to Africa with, Orphan Medical Network International.
Mm-hmm.
We abbreviate that to OMNI.
OMNI, okay.
And it's a wonderful organization that takes our skills, our talents, and our products to Africa and give them directly to the children and the moms, single moms there, and do all we can to help them improve their living quarters and their living existence. We feed them. At our school, we have 205 children in our school now who get a full meal a day. For probably a third of them, it's the only meal they get during the day. The meal is a well-balanced meal. We provide them with medical care. We provide them with an education. We provide them with clothing. And so we take it right to where it's needed.
Well, we actually had you present at not only Rotary, but I think you presented the Optimist Club, which is another organization
I did, yes.
that you and I belong to. I think both organizations are wonderful, and it's truly a wonderful way to surround yourself with people who do indeed walk the talk. I mean, it's one thing
Absolutely.
to do this type of things. And in your presentations, you've always had photographs and all, and we brought a few of them today, and I thought maybe we could sort of show the folks some of the things that we have, and we'll take a photograph at a time. Tell us what are we looking at right here?
Well, this is our classrooms at the school. Some years ago, Omni was given by the city of Ndola, Zambia, 65 acres. And we've been able to build a school there, and those are two of the school buildings.
Now, you built those buildings, or they were?
Well, I didn't personally do it, but we had them built, yes.
But I mean, you were responsible for overseeing it.
Omni was very much so, yes. Omni built that with their funds and with their instigation.
So speaking of funds, needless to say, the money is always appreciated. Now, there's an upbeat group there. Tell us about that.
Well, every year when we go there, the first thing we do is we go to the school, and the children all gather for a group picture, if you will, and they sing to us. It's just so great. They get really excited about us being there. And this is one of the assemblies when we were there this most recent year, 2014.
Wow, and here we are out in the field.
Well, this is this is the whole team.
This
is all 20 of us. This happens to be taken in a savanna on the way to the deep bush, where we do one of our favorite medical clinics in Jasapa, Zambia. And Karen Remine is the lady in the center there.
And is that one of the other volunteers that you have?
Yes, that's Mary Faust. And she is putting some eye drops in one of our patients' eyes. One of the common complaints in that area that time of year is burning eyes. And it's largely because the area is so dry. This is in July when we go there. It is so dry that there's dust everywhere. And just standing and not touching anything, you can become literally very, very dirty looking just because of the dust in the air. And of course it gets in the eyes and burns.
Oh, that's unbelievable. And here's another picture there.
And this is Karen Remine, and she just loves to treat those children, and they just flock to her. And she gives them all a hug. Here she's actually reading the doctor's prescriptions for whatever this child was in need of at that time. But all the children are around there, and it's the children that bring you back year after year after year. They have these big loving eyes, and it's such a pleasure to just look at them.
Right. So and here you're actually.
Yeah, this is Dr. Talia, and he is obviously treating the patient, talking with the patient about whatever her ailment is at that time. We do a lot of counseling for these people because they don't get that very often. And when they come to our clinics, we do an examination. We give them medicines. The interesting thing there is women and patients in general will come up and say they have malaria. And you say, well, how do you know you have malaria? I went to the clinic. And were you treated? Yes, I was. What were you treated with? Panadol. Panadol is Tylenol or acetaminophen. And so then we treat them with Coartem, which is the proper treatment. But many of the clinics in Zambia do not have the medicines to treat the people for their actual ailments.
Now, tell me the time frame as to how long when you go there you stay.
Yeah, we stay, it's a total of 2 weeks that we're there. We do 8 clinics, 1 clinic a day. We have 1 day off during those.
Oh, really good for you. You got 1 day. All right. Santa Claus only works 1 day a year. You only get 1 day.
There you go.
I think you got a short end of the stick here, Dr. Maicki.
I think you're right. No, I wouldn't have it any other way. Just going and seeing these patients, and they're so earnest about their needs, and it's just totally unbelievable from most people here in this country to have any concept of the need of the people in Africa where we serve.
Right. Well, that's sad. Unfortunately, there are so many hot spots around the world that could need help. But like they say, you got to start somewhere, and
That's
so. And this was from one trip that.
One trip, and then another trip, and then another trip, and so for the last 14 years, we've been going there. Yes.
That's wonderful. So, did you say that you actually run into some of the patients you had seen the prior year, and they remember you, or?
Oh yes, we one experience. I went back this past November with Karen Romine, and it happened that when we were there, everything was closed because the president of the country had died, and it was his funeral that day.
Boy.
So we went around to visit some patients that we had previously seen. And there's one little girl there who happens to have the name of Karen also, the only Karen that we know of in the Zambia area, other than Karen Romine. And Karen came running up, and we went to her house, and we looked at her house, and the roof was falling in.
Oh.
And the rainy season starts in December, so it was just around the corner from when we were there. So we were going to put a new roof on the house for Karen, a metal roof, and we were told that the building itself would not support a metal roof. So we looked around and said, how much will that be? And they said about $1,000 to build this house. And so we built her a new house.
Wow, isn't that great?
Yeah.
Well, that's everlasting, my goodness. And I assume that you welcome volunteers, is that correct?
We always are looking for volunteers. We need medical volunteers, we need nurses, and we need support people. In July of 2015, we'll be taking 4 doctors, 3 nurses, and the rest of the 20, which will be 13, support people, 2 of which will be my grandchildren and going with me, my 17 and 19-year-old daughter and
so
son.
it's going to be like a family affair.
Well, to some degree it will be, yes.
Well, that's wonderful. And as far as the age that someone can volunteer, is there a minimum that you need?
Yeah, that really should be 18. I'm taking my 17-year-old, but she's going with her papa.
Oh, I see. So you'll sort of sneak around there. You'll just take a year off a year. I see. Yeah. Well, that's wonderful. I mean, what a wonderful way. Not only have the Rotary and the Optimist Club, but you're actually doing what we talk about.
The Rotary Club has been very helpful to Omni in Africa. Indeed, one of the reasons why I looked up the Rotary Club here in this country.
All right, well, that's wonderful, Dr. Maicki. I'll see you at the next meeting. Right now, we have to wrap it up, and I always like to leave this program with my favorite parting remark, which is, yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery. Today is a gift, and that's why we call it the present. Please enjoy your present by living and looking at life with the bright side of aging.